Hi, Shraddha. Thank you for joining us today.
Hi, it's my pleasure.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How about you?
All well. Just carrying on, I would say. uh, right. So, Shraddha, tell us a little about yourself.
Yeah. I am basically based out of Pune. I have done my master's in clinical psychology, and I've been in the field of mental health since now 9 years. Currently, I'm working with Sneha Foundation, which is a Pune-based NGO. We work for education, health, and malnutrition in the urban slums of Pune and also across India. Side by side, I also have my private practice where I give consultation regarding psychological issues. So I do assessments. I provide counseling therapy to children, adults, adolescents, and so on. So yeah, this is about me.
I think it must be a busy time for you, considering what we're going through now.
Yes.
Okay, so Shraddha, we'd like to talk to you about the mental health issues that are cropping up now, given the pandemic and the situation that most of us are finding ourselves in. There's been loss of income, loss of job, we're all locked down. There's this fear of catching the virus and falling ill. So, in these times, in such a situation, how do we stay happy? How do we stay positive? What can we do?
Okay, yeah, it's a good question indeed, and I would really like to highlight, to the audience that being happy is not really called as mentally like being mentally fit. I mean, it's a myth that I would like to break, that mental health and happiness are not on the same sides of the coin, and they are two completely different things. And I think since we all are human beings, we are privileged to to be able to experience all sorts of emotions, and it's actually desirable to feel all sorts of emotions and a range of emotions, and actually acknowledge them, label them whenever we feel it. So it's really important to us to be able to label them and also recognize whether our emotions are in control or not. So rather than being happy, I would say that we should be able to recognize what emotions are we feeling at a particular situation. And I would also like to say that it's completely okay to feel all the negative as well as positive emotions. I mean, even if it is anger, disgust, or any other negative emotion that you're feeling, it's completely all right to feel it, because this is what gives us a complete range of emotional stability. And I think we always talk about intelligent quotient and social quotient and so on, but we also need to look into the EQ, that is the emotional quotient. And I think if at all you feel confused about what are you feeling and what emotions are you currently experiencing and so on, I would really like to tell you a short activity which will help you maybe segregate your emotions and experiences, and you'll be able to be in a better place to understand what exactly is happening to you.
Yes.
So this activity is known as the ABCD model of emotional quotient, wherein you place the situation in an ABCD pattern, where A is the activating event. For example, the event could be that I have to speak publicly, and then about a particular situation, we have a lot of beliefs inside our mind, which could be rational or irrational. So to say, for example, if the B, like my belief is irrational, that I have this feeling that I'm not able to speak in public, I'm always nervous, I have stage fear and all that. If I go by that feeling, the consequence, that is the C part of the model, would be that I would not be able to connect with the audience. I will maybe blurt out things that I would not have planned and so on. And then maybe coming to the dispute part, I would actually go back to the ABCs of the model and see where I went wrong. And then I'll be able to find out that the belief that I had was irrational. And that's when you'll be able to maybe recognize where the problem is, and then you can maybe choose to think in a rational way going forward. So these kind of small activities would help you in terms of getting your emotions in control, because currently everybody is going through a lot of ups and downs in terms of mental health. So I think it's really important that we stay in control, and of course not be happy all the time, but at least we are able to manage our emotions properly.
So basically, when I'm feeling a certain emotion, I'm confused, and of course, there are consequences, and I blurt out, I shout, and maybe later in the day, it's a postmortem. The ABCD is a postmortem that I sit
Yeah,
down and analyze what I should be doing, and how I
correct.
can help myself. Or okay, great. Yeah, sure. So one is the time to do uh, these activities, to analyze our emotions. Right now we are just bombarded with so many activities that we need to finish off. There are household chores, there are kids that are demanding attention, your husband's home, and plus you work from home as well. So for working women, I believe these times are also very, very challenging. And is there something that you could tell us as to how we could manage the situation better than these times?
Right. So I totally understand what you're saying, and I think not only with working women, even if they are not working, I think it's with everybody right now that they have to look into a lot of things at once, and multitasking is something that we all are kind of doing. So I think it's really important for women to delegate tasks to her family members, because this is not a time where woman does everything, including office work and household chores and everything, without any help as such. So I think it's really important to involve the children, your husband, your other family members, in-laws, parents, everybody, and make them the leaders of the tasks that they are able to do. I mean, I'm not saying that you make your children cook all the time or make your husband do the cooking, but whatever he or she can do, I think you can just delegate those tasks to them. And let's not just be obsessed about the kind of expectations that we have in terms of things to be done in a certain way, because we tend
Perfect.
to have that, and then we kind of be aggressive, and then we shout at our family members ki aise kyun nahi kiya, waise kyun nahi kiya. So let's not go there. I think currently what we need is the entire family working together as a unit, and I think that's very, very important. It will of course lessen your burden to some extent. And also, I think staying together with all the family members for 24 hours also may, strain our relationships. So it's really important to have individual time for everybody, like maybe your kids, for us also, for in-laws, for husband. I think everybody should take at least half an hour for your, personal,
For your mental
as a
peace.
personal time where, yeah, for mental peace, where we do whatever we like, and we don't want anybody to be involved in it. And things that we want to do together could be done in the rest of the time that we have. So I think yeah, I think that's what it is. I think this will definitely lessen the burden that we have.
So to summarize, basically, the important activities that we need to handle, we know that others can't do. We take those up. We delegate the activities that we can, and of course, the me time bit, which is the most important thing, where for our own sanity, we just step back and say, this is something that I need to do, and stay at peace for whatever, half an hour, 30 minutes, an hour.
Yes.
Great. But yeah, I also get it when you say that, we can't be demanding that things need to be perfect, because a lot of times, family members itself can't step up to that level, or are unwilling to step up. At that point in time, we might as well keep our peace and say, this can be done only to this extent, and that's about it, and accept it and move on.
Yeah.
Great. Shraddha, another thing is, while we're all facing these confusing emotions, some of them are very mild, like, anxiety, lack of sleep. I don't know if I can call them mild, but yes, these are, emotions. And then there are the serious mental disorders, etc., which probably get aggravated in a situation like this. Not many people are very forthcoming about the issues they face. So, is there something where they can go online, or do some research, and seek some help anonymously before, or would you recommend just seeking professional help? What is the right thing to do?
Yeah, I think given the stigma that we have in our society regarding mental health and taking treatment, I feel if at all a person is not feeling like taking help from a professional, and wants to save his confidentiality and all that. maybe he can take help from some of the online stuff that is already there. So you can maybe go to these authentic websites from say universities and colleges that are completely focused on mental health. So some of them maybe we would be able to share that in the link of the video. But to name a few, it's American Psychological Association, APA.org, or maybe NIMHANS Bangalore. So they have quite a lot of resources online on their websites. So I think we can take help from that. Also, I would suggest that reading books based on say psychology or emotions would also kind of help us in terms of understanding your own emotions and feelings and controlling them and so on. So to give you a few examples, maybe there are two books by Daniel Goldman. One is Emotional Intelligence and the other is Destructive Emotions. There's also a workbook kind of a thing, which is known as I think it's known as highly sensitive person's workbook. So this is particularly having a lot of therapy activities where one can actually put down things on paper and would be able to get much idea about what is happening in his own mind. So I think books and online resources could be one of the first steps that people can do. But I would really suggest that if things are going out of hand, seeking professional help is the only thing that you can do. And also when you are seeking help, be really sure that you will be consistent about it, because if at all it's on and off, if the treatment is on and off, it doesn't really work. So consistency and persistence is something that you really require when it comes to mental health. It is just like physical health, where you're not allowed to self medicate and diagnose yourself. Just leave it to the professional. So it is just the same for mental health as well.
So I want to ask you, like you rightly said, there's a lot of stigma attached to mental health, and some of us don't really know that we're facing, a mental disorder, or the symptoms we, as per us, could be very mild. So when and how do you classify these? How do you level it, saying that okay, you're at stage one, and this can be probably handled by yourself if you acknowledge your emotions? And when do you know that you really need to seek professional help, when I'm not able to concentrate on anything? Or so could you just tell us, at what stage do we need to really start seeking mental help?
Yeah. So as any other physical health issue, earlier the better. So as early as you can identify, that this is something is not me, and this is something that I have recently got into, and if it's hampering my daily routine, or I'm not able to do my daily activities as I used to be able to do it before, I think it's the right time to seek help professionally. The more you waste your time in terms of getting online resources maybe, or talking to a friend about it, and not just avoiding going to a doctor or maybe a psychologist, the more you'll do the damage. So earlier the better. So I think things like anxiety, fear, phobia, or it could be adjustment disorder, it could be anything related to your emotional experiences, which basically disturbs your daily life. You're not able to continue your work as you used to. So I think that's the point. You should really take on and take that as a sign and go to a professional as soon as possible.
Also, to ask you, like, because of the pandemic, we all are, to some extent going through some kind of emotion. Like, it could be slight anxiety, it could be taking more time to sleep. What would you say about that? Those are things that we can handle slowly at home, and can we help ourselves in such a situation?
Yeah, I think the current situation is taking a toll on everybody's mental health to some extent. But what is happening, as far as I, recognize it, a lot of us are taking this as a holiday or a vacation period. And that's where we are making a mistake, because then the entire schedule of ours is getting disturbed. We're not sleeping on time. We're not having our food on time. We're trying a lot of new things because of the competition around. Like on every WhatsApp group, on every social media handle, there are some pictures of cakes, baking, and all those
Yeah.
things. So we're not really following our daily diet and the schedule that we used to. So I think it's really important to consider this time as a boon, to inculcate good habits and get on a schedule as soon as possible, because being in a routine drives our entire physical and mental health. We are not supposed to disturb the entire circadian rhythm because it's a lockdown. So I think that this is really important to follow a diet, exercise routine, and also your sleep routine. And I think information diet is something that also we can focus on too, because there is a lot of information available everywhere around us, and we really get confused in terms of what to believe, what to not believe, and so on. So I think we should limit ourselves to some reliable sources like WHO, UNICEF, or maybe government social media handles, and so on, so that we know that the information coming from these sources is reliable, and we are not getting too worried about the facts and the situation around. So I think getting back to a routine is something that would really help us all. And also I think whatever time we save by not socializing or by not traveling, we can utilize that time into learning something new, or maybe pursuing a hobby that we always wanted to and we were not able to get time because of our tight schedules. So I think learning something new would always give you that kind of that drive to go on with the kind of situation that we are facing. So yeah, I mean, this is how these small steps could definitely help us all.
I really like the word you use, the information diet, how much to consume, how much of information to consume, and what kind of information to consume. Yeah, that's very important, because I see myself, flooded with these webinars, these amazing posts that, a lot of other companies are putting out on handmade handicrafts, and I see myself, not doing it, and, maybe having these anxiety attacks that, I should be doing more. But you're right, maybe doing the little that's necessary, and the important ones would make sense. Great. So
Yeah.
Shraddha, if you could just summarize or and tell us what, so maintaining a schedule, or should I just do it, or would you like to do it, as to what would be the key 1, 2, 3, 4 things that we should do in these days, maintaining
Yeah.
a
So
schedule?
sure.
Go
So
on.
first thing is scheduling and prioritizing. Like if we have a lot of tasks to do in the days to come, maybe we can prioritize, and while sleeping, you can just jot down a few things that you want to complete tomorrow, and do that first thing in the morning tomorrow. It's called eating the frog first. So this is something that would save a lot of your irrational worry that I have to do this. It keeps on getting to your mind all the time when you are involved in other work. So I think prioritizing is something that you can do. The other thing is mindfulness, where we are focusing on the present moment. So this can be done by maybe focusing on your breathing for a minute, or maybe just jotting down whatever you can sense through all your five organs and in 1 minute, and then just focusing on what all can you hear, what all can you see, and so on. This basically brings us to the present moment and not worry about the future or the past. So this reduces a lot of our irrational stress and worries. The third thing is, I think, being grateful to what we have rather than worrying about what we don't have. So a lot of us are struggling for survival out there, and for those who have shelter, food to eat, and some kind of jobs in hand, I think we should be grateful for everything that we have around us. So maybe we can have a gratitude log, and every day we can just note down one thing every day where you're grateful, you're thankful that you have it. For example, it could be family, it could be friends, it could be your job, and whatever that you are grateful for. So gratitude log is something that you can do. And the other thing is journal writing, where you jot down some important significant events, or maybe significant experiences that you are having currently in the lockdown period. And I think it's also useful for the longer period to come. Like it's useful for your daily routine also. So whatever significant ideas, experiences that you have in the entire day, you can just note down and maybe go back to them whenever you feel sad, or whenever you're not in the correct mood. So yeah, this is something that would definitely maybe help you in get in better mental health. And also I think there's unnecessary competition all around us right now, so let's not get into that. Let's not compete with other brands and other other friends of ours, and let's just focus on ourselves and growing ourselves, and utilize this time more.
Great. Yeah, that sounds very. That sounds like a positive step. Instead of worrying about what could be and would be, it makes sense to just focus and go inwards and work on ourselves. Shraddha, thank you. We will kind of close the meeting here, but people can reach you if they need more help. We'll be sharing your ID. I think we've already done that, and we will be sharing the links in the books that you mentioned, a few of those as well. So thank you so much for joining us and taking time out to discuss such an important topic. I'm sure we'll all benefit this topic. Thanks again. Thank you. Take
Thank
care.
you. It was my pleasure. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.